With me today, I have the CFO of NeoDynamics, Aaron Wong. This is a pure Q&A session, and Aaron would like to take some highlights. So welcome, Aaron.
Hi, Klaus. Very nice to see you again.
So Aaron, could you please elaborate a little on your Q2 report? If we start with the sales first.
Absolutely. I think it's a very good place to start, actually, because I mean, sales has been really the focus of NeoDynamics this year, and I know that investors and shareholders alike have been waiting for some development on the sales. So it's a very good place to start. And what I would like to say is that we took the opportunity to receive and manage the feedback that we received from reference centers and clinics on the device itself before we decided to move into the US. So we want to make these kind of small iterations, and they are quite small, in order to make sure that we really hit the US correctly. The way I see it is that with a product like this, it's just like building a house. You need to make sure you get the foundations correct before you build it, because to change it further on is quite an expensive and time-consuming ordeal. So we made some small changes in the needle itself, and that's reflected in the costs that we've capitalized in Q2. However, we do really see this as the final step before launch. So we're just ironing out the very small last pieces. And it's important to kind of reiterate that we take all feedback on our product from our customers very seriously, and we want to obviously make a product that is not only easier to use for the clinicians and caregivers, but also for the patients receiving the treatment.
Yeah, good point. Good point there, Aaron. And then if we go a little further down the P&L, just a short comment on the OpEx development.
Yes, absolutely. So our OpEx was pretty much in line with last year. We didn't have kind of big swings in OpEx, which is good to see. It really does mean that we're managing our cost base in line with the activities that we have within the business. The only big kind of outlier was the other external expenses, where we didn't have the Germany GmbH subsidiary yet established last year. So that's really where the driver's coming from versus this year.
Yeah, and then FDA, you're waiting, or you're mentioning US a lot of times, both now and also in the Q2 comment. We released a video a couple of days ago with an interview of Matthew Colpoys about the US market. This is a great market, it's a great opportunity for you, but you're waiting for FDA at the moment. Could you comment on that, what you do expect and when?
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, the FDA's general guidelines is 90 days from submission, but within those 90 days, as we've outlined, they can stop the clock at any point in order to ask further questions or require further information. But what we know about the FDA is that the larger, more complex questions tend to come at the beginning. And we're now at the kind of end of the process. So everything we've been asked, we've provided, and we really think that in the Q3 that we will have an answer. Yeah,
Q3 is well, 1.5 months away. So yeah.
Yes, very soon, very soon. So we're very excited. It's everybody's waiting on tenterhooks for this, so it's going to be a really interesting autumn.
But in terms of cash and liquidity in general, investors shouldn't be worried about anything. You carried out a big issue early on this year. Just to repeat that about the cash and the liquidity, could you comment shortly on that?
Yeah, exactly. So in Q2, in March time, we did run a new rights issue, and I think given the kind of global situation with things going on, we were actually very pleased with the outcome and the capital we managed to raise. So we have cash up until the first half of next year, and we're well funded to do all the things that we need to get off the ground in the US. And I think it's important that whilst our focus is kind of split and now shifting towards the US, we do take Europe very seriously, and we are continuing along those lines as we did before. So we've not forgotten Europe at all. So now we have a split focus.
Yeah, well, I think I understand it more like that you're piggybacking on all the experiences and studies you carried out in Europe for the US launch, and then of course US is a huge market, but both markets are important in terms of sales.
Absolutely, and that's exactly right. And I think that without the European foundation, the US wouldn't be able to take off in the way that we expected, because we do really need these clinics and reference centers in order to have those good stories come out.
Yeah. Then finally, you got a new shareholder, Grønningskyst Holding. I don't know if I pronounce it right in English, but it's a Swedish investor. Could you elaborate a little on those guys? Is it a consortium, or is it a one rich man, or are you able to do that?
So yeah, Grønningskyst Holding is actually he or the company has been with us for a long time. Believe it or not, 21 years I found out. So he's been part of the NeoDynamics story for many years, and he was, or the company was the second largest shareholder up until the end of Q1, and then he took part in the rights issue and 100% subscribed for the shares, and then also decided that he would like to buy more. So we were very happy that Grønningskyst decided to continue to believe in our story and support NeoDynamics, and we see this as confidence from some of our larger shareholders that they see a positive future for NeoDynamics. So very pleased with that.
That they took some extra shares, yeah, and it's good with these anchor investors, and especially just before you launch in US, that you both have the right guys in the board, but also your management group and even the shareholders, they stay by.
Exactly, and I think that's a really pertinent point with our shareholders. I think one of the things that we're very pleased with Grønningskyst is that not only is the company has a long-term view. I mean, the attitude is quite mature in that they know that within a medtech environment and the products that we are bringing to the market, these things take time. So within the market, you are going to get peaks and troughs in performance, but really it's the long term where this particular shareholder is interested. So they share our view, and we're very pleased to have them increase their shareholding.
Yeah, interesting. Well, Aaron, is there something besides FDA, which is of course of great importance, is there anything else? Otherwise, I maybe have a small question just to clarify the US-Europe issue in regards to sales as well, because as I read it in the message today, the big needle in Europe is the core pulse needle, as I understand it, where you expect the big needles, and I saw the package myself on the conference in Stockholm. You have 3 needles, you can very easily switch between them, but in US you expect the flex and the vacuum pulse needle to be the big sellers there. Why is it that it's not the same needle? It's the same type of cancer you go for. Are you able to explain about that?
Yeah, it's the application. I think it's the application of the flexi needle in particular to sample the very difficult to reach axilla, and then that's where the value proposition I think lies in the suite of products that we are offering. Is that we do have the standard, the core pulse, which is kind of what everybody kind of has access to. But these other two needles are which really differentiates us, and obviously the innovative technology around the pulse. So there isn't really anything on the market that serves this particular area of biopsy other than obviously the surgical intervention. So that's really the difference, and that's what we think is what the US is really missing. And we've been carrying out market research, and we've had some really interesting keynote speakers provide their insight into the needles, and yeah, we're very confident that it will be the next level.
Yeah, interesting, because I remember the outcome from the Congress you went to in Savannah, where Mark Tillman was presenting your needles. So you obviously got some very good feedback on the Flex needle at that time.
Yeah, and this is I can speak firsthand, having listened to some of the feedback. It is fantastic to hear how much in demand that they see this product having and being valued to them. So there's no mistake in my mind that this will be, once it gets into the market and it's fully commercialized, it will be something that really just changed the landscape in breast biopsies.
Yeah. Thanks a lot, Aaron. And with that said, we look forward for the next presentation on our platform, and hopefully soon, because that's more or less that you got the FDA approval. And then, yeah, that's more or less it, Aaron. Thanks a lot, and have a nice day.
Wonderful. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Bye.
Goodbye.